What up, guys? It's Sergeant 13. Welcome to a... that was too much energy.
That was too much energy?
Yeah, this is supposed to be chill.
What up, gamers? It's your boy, Arden 13.
Go ahead and Warhammer smash that like button. I wanted to kill...
Carpet bomb that like button.
What's up, guys? It's Arden 13. I'm joined here with Kat and Malikulis Nerd. And this year is definitely not, top 10...
Best years of the world.
They wanted the Roaring 20s. What a way to start.
Well,
what a way to start. This in comparison to a Great Depression,
There was a Great Depression.
Yeah, but it was less about money and more about serotonin levels.
Don't hold your breath. The Great Depression is still coming.
It's on the way.
It's on the way.
The financial one is coming.
Yeah. One thing that I just wanted to do, just to kind of kick back and relax, one of Mal and I's favorite things and one of Kat's favorite things has always been music, and has always been sharing music with each other, hanging out, just vibing with music, whatever the hell it is when we've had rough days, long days, or just hell on earth days, or hell on earth years. So Spotify does that wonderful thing where it's their year wrap-up, their year in review, and I thought it would be really cool to just go through what Spotify has, all of their statistics, which is, how do you feel about being the point of statistics for Spotify, first and foremost?
I mean, I kind of dig it, because sometimes I like it because this one and the other playlist I do is your previous year's rewind. Mm-hmm. And I really one of my favorite things ever is rediscovering a song that my brain deleted from my save files and just having it back oh I love this song, I forgot this existed.
Right.
That happened with some One Republic song the other day. I don't even fucking remember what it was now. See, it re-deleted. So.
Yeah, re-deleted.
Spotify will bring it back.
For sure. Do whatever you feel in whatever order.
Well, to start off, I discovered 418 new artists this year.
Jesus Christ.
Did
you just start using Spotify?
No. That's probably because, I listen to a lot of songs where multiple people have worked and collaborated on one song, so... It's you discovered them when they just did, the background music or whatever.
Okay.
Top 5 songs of the year. Sleepwalking by Lindsey Sterling is the number 1. I streamed that one 81 times this year. And I think I discovered that on May 4th, so good times. But yeah, it was
To be frankly honest, the amount of times that they say your most listened to song, the streamings on it. So you said what, 87?
81.
Yeah, 80.
81. Yeah, mine is 56 is the most amount of streams. So I was are you sure that is my most listened to song?
Mm-hmm.
First of all, second of all, I only listened to it 56 times.
Yeah. So I listened to that one a lot, and then I listened to second top song was Masquerade by Lindsey Sterling. Then Song of the Caged Bird by Lindsey Sterling.
I'm sensing a pattern here.
Then dramatic shift, number 4 is Parasite Eve by Bring Me the Horizon.
Okay.
And then number 5 is Doomsday by the Architects. So it goes from
Have you heard Parasite Eve?
No, I haven't.
Oh, we will play it for you here in a second. But yes, it's a dramatic shift of cool Lindsey Sterling. It's her stuff can be more intense, I guess, but it's just dubstep violin. And then it goes Parasite Eve and Doomsday by the Architects.
Yes.
Which even then, Bring Me the Horizon in comparison to the Architects are two very different sides of the spectrum.
Yes, that is a very fucking thing as well.
But to, let's see. Top 5 artists, no surprise, was Lindsey Sterling, was the top one. I think I listened to 1,985 minutes of her music this year. So, there you go.
How much?
1,900, almost 2,000 minutes of her music.
Okay, but what does that look like, though? This is the more interesting part. What are you doing while you're listening to dubstep violin.
Riding or driving.
Okay, that makes sense.
Right.
Because so Lindsey Stirling has always felt like a get shit done
Yes.
artist. So like I would have it on in the background if I'm like cleaning or like doing something.
So it's a lot of writing because a lot of her stuff I'll listen to it and it's very easy for me to pick out a character that would go with that kind of music.
Okay,
so, like Masquerade, I have a vampire character who that's her song. So if I'm trying to think of things for her, I will just keep playing that song.
I feel that.
But yes, so no surprise, choose the top artist of the year for me. Second is In This Moment, which is
it's a metal band.
Metalcore,
yeah.
Metalcore.
Okay.
Then Polyphia, which is another background.
Hell yeah.
Background.
Hell yeah.
Pop up music. There was
Polypha?
one.
Polypha.
It's not a Pokemon.
Wow, yeah, I'm saying it like Pokemon.
Polyphia?
Thank you. You fucked me up on
I'm
that
sorry,
one.
okay, the cool
They're
band.
not a Pokemon.
The cool, yeah.
Polyphly?
Polyphia.
But
God.
It's just a fairy type guitar Pokemon.
Number 4 was Gareth Coker, which I had to look up. I was like, who is this person?
Yeah.
I've never listened to their music before in my life. He does a lot of like background instrumentals for video games, movies, and things like that. So when I just was like, oh yeah, that sounds good, I would randomly add him to my writing playlist, and so that was kind of a surprise for me. And then Motionless in White is 5. So if my music tells you anything about this year, there you go.
It was one hell of a year.
One hell of a year. And despite all of the metal, and I don't know if you'd really consider Lindsey Stirling pop music, but my top genre this year was pop music, which I was kind of like,
yeah,
maybe Lindsey Stirling.
It's the Lindsey Stirling.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, and it's also Lindsey Stirling. I think gets lumped into pop because she does so many songs with other people.
Right.
Yeah.
That would do it.
And she also does like covers of pop songs too, if I remember correctly.
That feels bad though, because if you look up Lindsey Stirling,
her stuff is not the stuff that she does on her own is not pop.
Her top 5 songs that you would click on are not her. She's got 2 Christmas songs, and then everything else is like stuff that she's done with other artists.
Right.
Which is a bummer because her original music is worth listening to, unrelated to other pop artists that she features on.
So with mine, I suppose you can start with some of these statistics. I listened to 457 new artists, or 457 artists this year. But the ones who reign supreme, number 1 artist of the year with 456 minutes listened to,
Jesus,
is John Bellion.
As you do.
Followed by Black Bear.
As you do.
Then Polyphia, Motionless in White, and then Andromeda.
Ooh.
Andromeda, have I shown you Andromeda?
No, you haven't.
Andromeda it's another kind of like gent metal band, but or at least the album
it sounds
specifically.
proggy.
Yeah, it's like prog, like.
That sounds like a prog name.
It's really good, dude. I'll show it to you.
I mean, yeah,
it's like
I'm
cosmic
down.
gent metal.
Yeah.
Okay.
The names of the albums that I listen to of theirs is like The Voyager and The Void. They're all like all the names of their songs are like extraterrestrial like phenomena themed.
Cool.
Like my favorite song by them is Supernova.
Right.
Like it's so good. But John Bellion is the one who takes the cake on how much I listen to John.
Yeah. I mean, I think that this Lotus Life will show some view into our very long-standing friendship. So
yeah. Decade of the year was the 2000s for me.
That was mine. I didn't get to that one, but that one was mine too. What was your top song from the 2000s?
Your top song from the 2000s was September by Earth, Wind and Fire.
Yeah. But that's because it got re-released.
Got re-released.
That's the version that we listen to on Spotify.
Yes.
So technically, your top listened to song from the decade is a 70s, 80s song?
Yeah.
80s song? 70s song?
We need to look that one up real fast because I don't remember off the top of my head. I want to say 70s.
When did September by Earth, Wind and Fire come out? 78.
Yeah.
I was 2 years off.
70.
My mind immediately goes to 76, so that's
Right.
Well, it was like at the beginning of the 80s, and that's what it really drove into. So
Mhm,
like, it's kind of an 80s song.
It's an 80s song. No, the decade of was September.
The decade
Because-
was 1978.
But that's also because September is one of those songs that we have on like our For the Boys playlist.
That's what I was gonna say. Do you know why your top listened to decade is the 2000s? Because your For the Boys playlist is almost all 2000s hits.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Yes.
saying.
Along
The
with
whole
the Guilty
thing.
Pleasures playlist.
Yeah,
that
and
was
for
the other
guilty
thing.
pleasures.
Yeah, that was the other thing because for me, my top listen to genre. Let me get to that one. Where did that go? Yeah, my top listen to genre is pop, but that's because for I was working in a few different places over the course of the year, and so I would always need. Angry Beavers was a little too much for me, so I would just
too much.
so I would listen to my Guilty
A bit
Pleasures
much.
playlist, which is all just Katy Perry, Kesha, and like Justin Bieber and Nicki Minaj and shit.
Also, even though John Bellion cannot be quantified, he is quantified on Spotify as pop. So
Right.
if he was your top artist, then
Yeah, that would make sense. But my top genres was like number one was pop, then pop punk, and then pop rap, then metalcore, then alternate metal,
yeah,
alternative metal, and I
that
was like,
tracks.
interesting.
that tracks.
167 genres. Already said that. I discovered 144 new artists this year. I need those figures. I need to know. I need,
I need the
list.
Carfax
I
on
need the
those.
Carfax on that one.
Yeah.
Not because I doubt it. I just want to know which ones I've discovered.
Yeah.
Like, I've known, like, all the big ones that I've listened to, I've known for the longest time.
Right.
So it's more or less just like...
It's the same thing. It's those features.
Right.
Right. Well, features, and I was also thinking because more often than not, I would like add a new song that I really liked, like Parasite Eve, to like my metalcore playlist or whatever, and that would be at the very end, and I wouldn't hit like repeat on the playlist, so it would just do that thing that Spotify has, like,
Oh, and then like adds
you may also
Yeah.
like
Similar.
this, and so it just starts hitting all of those fucking songs. That's the only reasoning that I have there for why that worked out that way.
That's true.
But are you ready for my top song?
Yes.
Discovered on January 4th.
Discovered on January 4th.
I
Okay.
discovered this song on January 4th of
Wait,
this
wait.
year.
I want to try to guess. So give me the genres and stuff.
Oh, okay. Discovered on January 4th of this year, with the most streams. The day with the most streams was April 26th, with 34 streams of this song
On that one day.
on that
April
one
26th.
day.
What the fuck were you doing on April 26th?
I have no idea. I hit 50 streams on September 30th, which is weird. Total of 122 streams. It is a kind of a poppy gent metal song that has very anime tropes in it.
Isn't it an anime opening?
It is not an anime opening.
Okay. No,
I know
I
I've
don't know.
I know I have played this song for you, but I know that it's not like one of the things that would be in the forefront.
I don't know. I don't know.
It
at
is
all.
called The Noticing by Sithu Aya.
Yeah, no idea.
Yeah, so Sithu Aya is another kind of like solo gent metal artist or whatever. He strictly does instrumentals like Polyphia. Well, Polyphia started to get into like instrumentals with vocals over top of it, but they have featured artists. Regardless, he put out 2 EPs called Senpai Part 1, Senpai Part 2, and all of the names of the songs are like anime tropes. Like this one is called The Noticing, as in Senpai Notice Me.
Yeah. Okay.
Another
one
one
that's
is like a rival approaches, oh shit, I'm late for school.
Right.
And it starts with like your alarm clock going off.
Oh yeah.
And then one of my favorite songs by him, besides The Noticing, is Anime as Leaders.
Okay.
For animals as leaders.
Oh yes.
For that
Yeah.
reference, I was like, oh, that's really cute. But my top songs, which I'm not against it, it just kind of like throws me off a little bit because I thought I definitely listened to other songs more. But The Noticing is number 1. Plain Jane by A$AP Ferg is number 2.
How?
I don't know!
The demon took over your phone at night, and that's all they were listening
I don't know!
Your what is it? Your sleep demon. Your sleep paralysis demon is just taking your phone in the middle of the night and just going in.
Just going in on
A$AP
Ferg.
Well, you're just laying there in terror. All right.
Number 3 is Euphoria by BTS.
Okay, yeah.
Number 4 is Level of Concern by 21 Pilots.
And that came out, like, right at the beginning hype of, like, the pandemic and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And that song felt like the pandemic, and it was really great.
Yeah.
Yes. Yep.
For me, it was this song that came out by 21 Pilots, which is more like a chill kind of approach to the whole situation. And then, like, 3 weeks later, Parasite Eve came out. Mm-hmm. And it was like...
It was a more, like... Yeah. Well, I mean, you'll understand when we play it for you here in a second.
It's more accusatory.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But, like, those are honestly the 2 songs of the pandemic. I know other songs have come out during the pandemic, but those 2 feel most like...
Well, they knew what they were doing.
Hell yeah, they did.
Yeah.
And then my number 5, again... I don't know how. Rockstar by DaBaby.
I can totally agree with that, because for a good portion of the year, you were walking around singing that shit.
Because you played it for me in the car.
I know, one time, and then you were just like...
I like the
you
vibe.
were like, listen, you would walk around singing that shit.
I thought it was a good song.
You were just running around, fuck a cop car, and I'm like, Arden, everywhere. That should be like number 3, based on if they knew you were singing it that much.
Yeah, that's true. I just didn't know that it was going to be in my top 5. Did you get like a title of the year or? Mm-hmm. Yeah, what did you get?
I got Pioneer.
I also got Pioneer. I guess maybe did everyone get Pioneer? We'll see.
Well, I mean, if you guys discovered a bajillion new artists, that's probably.
Well, for me, I was a Pioneer because I listened to the song Itachi before it hit 50,000 streams.
Okay.
Oh, now I have to look it up.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah, so it's not like you're listening to new stuff. You're listening to. You were a hipster.
I was a hipster. I
you
listened
liked
to it
before
it was cool. Yeah, like
okay.
And Itachi is a really solid song, and I unfortunately don't know all the details about it, but it's like an anime rap song about the character Itachi Uchiha. It's super cool, super dope. I love it.
Okay. First off, so I'm looking at the story thing, and it pops up several artists, and it popped up like 3 artists that I was like, oh yeah, this tracks, and then it popped up Taylor Swift. I don't listen to Taylor Swift like that, so I'm curious what Spotify's talking about here. I discovered 233 new artists this year.
Blew me out of the water.
That tracks because I've have not been making music this year, but I have been intending to, and because of that, I try to pick up. I intentionally will dig really deep into my Spotify Discover Weekly stuff, just to like, I will suffer through some pretty bad songs just for like maybe 2 or 3 good ones. So like, my discoveries might be like actual new artists that I thought were cool. Who knows?
I really got into the Discover Weeklies this year, but not. I guess that's where all the new artists also came from.
Or no, Release Radar 2.
Well, then I need to get on that one as well.
Well, that's so your Release Radar is all of your songs from artists that you already listened to that just put out a new single or whatever the fuck. But then your Discover Weekly is artists that you don't listen to. So
okay.
We'll see.
Fair enough. As you were.
I have listened to 306 genres this year, including 59 new ones.
There you go.
Alright, sure. Whatever. My top genres were... Yay! Pop, rap, rock, pop, rap, and pop punk. Pop, rap, rock, pop, rap, and pop punk. Okay.
It's like a Dr. Seuss book.
Sure. Yes.
You really got... So, one of the things that Mal really got into this year, back into, was League of Legends because of the World's 2020
Yes.
Tournament. And so, you had that shit on repeat all the goddamn time.
Yeah. So, they got me with, with Yone, this year. Their release for Yone, who is Yasuo's brother. If you know anything about League of Legends lore, just anime stuff. And that character got a release trailer that was basically a short anime film. And that was the final straw that broke the camel's back of me staying away from League of Legends. So I started playing League of Legends again this year. And that has been good and bad. And then I dragged all of them into it.
Yeah.
But I also
and then
got
they
to sit
reworked
through.
the shop.
Yeah.
And then they reworked the shop and
Yeah.
haven't been back since.
And then, but because of that, I got to sit down and really watch Worlds this year. Shout out to Damwon for bringing it back to Korea. But like all of the music that came with that, including KDA, which I'm sure that we'll get to someplace in this. So yeah, I listened to a lot of League of Legends stuff this year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Those are my genres. Yeah. One song that helps you get through it all. Yeah, Werewolf by Quinn XCII.
I'm putting that on the list because I haven't heard that one.
Me neither.
Such a good song. You've heard it once because I played in the song with you. I played in the car with you once.
Werewolf?
Yeah. Werewolf was one of those songs that came out. So if you don't listen to Quinn XCII, he is a very, very similar artist to John Bellion. I love him, and when Werewolf came out, like, if you haven't listened to it, put on bass heavy speakers or headphones and listen to that shit, because that shit fucking slaps. Yeah, that tracks. Okay, so my top songs are Werewolf with 47 streams, Aristocrats by Raleigh Ritchie. If you don't know who Raleigh Ritchie is, he is Grey Worm.
Yeah.
He's Grey Worm from the Game of Thrones series. He was making music before Game of Thrones when he was acting, and his music is incredible. I don't have any other words to say about that, and he finally put out a new album this year, and I have been listening to that on repeat. What's Poppin' by Jack Harlow because of Leo. The shout out to Leo because he is the one who introduced me to Jack Harlow. If you haven't heard that song, you must have been under a rock or not on TikTok. So either way. Riri by Amine, and I'm sure the only reason that this song from the album is higher than the other songs from Amine's new album is because it was the single, and I listened to it a solid like month and a half straight before the album came out, and I could listen to the rest because this is not the best song on the album, but like yeah. And then Original Me by Youngblood and Dan Reynolds, featuring Imagine Dragons. Yeah. That song is just the banger of the century. So, like, going back to what you said, Kat, Raleigh Ritchie and Original Me are my Mercury songs. They're like Mercury playlist songs. So, Original Me is like, I have a playlist for one of my main D&D characters, whose name is Mercury, who I'm sure if you subscribe to the channel, you're going to hear a lot about pretty soon coming up. Yeah, was designed after a very Cockney British character, and so Original Me fits him to a T, and then Aristocrats, that entire album that Raleigh Ritchie put out is him to a T as well.
Mm-hmm. All of the metal stuff that was on my Spotify came from another character playlist, so yeah.
I'm a good listener.
Are you?
Feel free to show this to your exes. What? That's... Yeah, okay, so I have a podcast section.
Oh!
Dope.
So, yeah. First and foremost, Pass Gas. Part of being in quarantine turned me into a car person, which I've been told is the male equivalent to being a horse girl for guys. So I will take that shame.
Woo!
Oh no, go back.
As long as you ain't a ricer, man.
Well, I have a Honda Civic, so if you care about cars, yeah, I am a ricer. So, go back. Stop doing that. So Pass Gas was my first one. It is from Donut Media. They are a YouTube channel, where they basically talk about all stuff cars, and not in like a way. If you are at all interested in cars, or you kind of like the Fast and Furious franchise, or like the concept of the fact that every car that you're driving in, unless it's electric, runs on actual explosions. Like, your car runs on explosions. Is that not the coolest fucking like, your car, your engine is just blowing up constantly. That's how it moves.
Yeah.
So if any of that interests you, go subscribe to the Donut Media channel. They make car stuff really entertaining and super funny, and like it's like actually I was not into cars until I discovered that channel. I will say that. But they have a podcast called Pass Gas where they talk about all things in the car world, like they talked about the Midnight Club, which is the underground street racing club in Japan that they based like Tokyo Drift off of. Mm-hmm. Like it's a real thing, and it's super crazy. And it's run by it's like all the members are like super rich CEOs of companies that like just drive their cars secretly at night. They're like weird Japanese car racing Batman. It's fucking crazy. The Always Open podcast, shout out to Rooster Teeth and Barbara Dunkelman. That is like my favorite podcast ever. I used to listen to it when I was still working in restaurants before the plague came, and I love her. And if you love Rooster Teeth, in spite of all of the crazy stuff that's been happening to them, they are still really good people. And shout out to Barbara Dunkelman, who I've met multiple times at different conventions. She's the best, and this podcast is great. And I think for me, my thing for podcasts is I just like strive off of other people's energy. So like I can come into here to the studio, and if they're not here or if someone's not here in the studio working, I can just like zone out for 6 hours and not do anything. Mm-hmm. So like for me, podcasts like the Always Open podcast feels like I have a group of friends in the room with me, like talking to me all the time. So Always Open podcast is great. Face Jam is great. It is another Rooster Teeth podcast. It is from Michael and another guy from Rooster Teeth. And they just go out and they try all the limited edition foods at fast food restaurants. So like the shitty double-decker pizzas that like Little Caesars puts out, or the weird taco, like mini tacos that Taco Bell put out for 2 weeks. And they just go out and try them and tell you as if it was like a nice review show, but like all the food's garbage. But like it's all bad, right? But they talk about like they score it and give it a score out of 100, and it's all stupid and it's funny. And then the last one is, again, another Rooster Teeth podcast called Good Morning from Hell, where one of the members of Rooster Teeth dies, and his punishment in hell is to run a podcast in hell with a demon. And in this podcast, they interview the tenants of hell. So they've interviewed Hitler and Stalin and, like, TikTokers. And, like,
TikTokers. And TikTokers, throw them in there.
Yeah, people who, like, are in hell, and it's, like... It's a super, super funny podcast, and it's, like, very abnormal for a podcast, because they treat it like it's real, but, like, it's not, and it's, like, scripted, but, like, funny. I like it a lot, so. 428 minutes of the Face Jam podcast, which is kind of low. I need to keep up. I think their season ended. Yeah, Face Jam, Always Open, Pass Gas. Oh, and then Off Topic, which is another Rooster Teeth podcast. Okay, well, there's the theme here. Compared to... other listeners, which decade did you play the most? Oh, do we have to, like, guess?
Yeah, you have to guess.
Yeah.
Oh, 2000s. Easy. 100%. Yeah.
What was the...
Mrs. Jones by Michael Bublé. Me and Mrs. Jones.
Oh my god. Yeah, I think we all got the 2000s. I don't know why they didn't have, like...
Who was
maybe
on...
2010.
Guess my top artist.
What were your 4 choices?
Black Bear, Amine, Tenacious D, and John Bellion.
I'm gonna go with John Bellion.
Yeah, I mean, it's been John Bellion for the past, like, 5 years.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna assume it's John Bellion. Yeah. Yeah.
That's the remix though.
Yeah, this is the remix one.
Oh god. Best concert.
So, top artists are John Bellion, Amine, because of that new album, which slaps. Tenacious D, because... so, for the first part of the year, I was a kitchen manager at a restaurant here in town, and I was in charge of the music. And because of that, I had to sort of play the middleman between everyone. That's where Taylor Swift comes from.
Oh.
One of my sous chefs loved Taylor Swift, so I would play Taylor Swift for her sometimes, and that is why that popped up for a second. Yeah. So I played Tenacious D, Black Bear, and then Riley Ritchie. Yeah, that tracks.
So thank you guys so much for hanging out with us today on this just low-key Lotus Life about Spotify and music and the stuff that we did were listening to over the course of this insane year. If we can bother you to join the lunch table and hit all those buttons down below that everyone else bugs you about, it would be awesome to have you come hang out with us again. No matter what it is necessarily, we got a bunch of stuff coming out.
There's a lot of stuff coming.
To be frankly honest, if I may be so bold as to say, 2020 has been rough like all around, but I think Lotus has kind of had a pretty okay, like on the up kind of year.
We've had a decent year, and we've had enough. It's given us enough mental space away from everything to sit and listen to our music and plan for the takeover of YouTube. I'm sorry, was that too straightforward? It's given us enough time to think about what we want to do next, and we have a lot of cool stuff coming.
We got a lot of cool stuff coming, but regarding this hangout, this Lotus Life, down below in the comments, if you don't mind hitting us with what your top genre was, your top song, your top artist, like any other details that you want to throw down there from your Spotify wrap-up. If you're on Spotify, does Apple Music do this?
Apple Music?
You mean
Fuck outta here.
Spotify with a chromatic background? Anyway.
No,
Or maybe not your like top song or top artist, but maybe one that you would recommend based on what we showed and we said.
Also,
that we
yeah,
liked.
give
So
recommendations.
give some recommendations.
Give
for
these
next
two
year.
losers recommendations for podcasts, because they need some podcasting.
Hey, I've been meaning to get into it. I intend to, in 2021, listen to more audiobooks. That's something that I intend to do.
Nerd!
Okay, yeah,
I'm
fuck
kidding.
you.
No, I'm kidding. I need to read more too.
But in any case, thank you guys again. I've been Narn13. I am still waiting on that ramen.
I'm Kat.
I'm good old Mal.
And we'll catch you guys in the next one. Be safe out there. See you in the new year.
Bye.
Peace.